Hey, gang. Things are kind of in flux right now. Candice had something come up. Um, and so I'm not sure if we're doing a Friday Foolish or not. When I last heard from her, I'd already started the intros and stuff. So I told her to send me a message when she can to let me know if we need to cancel this or I just need to give her a few minutes or whatever. So you guys will be stuck with me, unfortunately, for a little bit. Or if we don't do Friday Foolish, never fear. I do have to work a late Friday next Friday, so we won't be able to do it then. But if we can't do it tonight, then hopefully we'll be able to do it the following Friday, just not next Friday. But I'm going to keep y'all entertained until I hear from Candace what we need to do. Okay, so life happens, folks. But I was going to fix a damn fine cup of coffee. And then time got away from me and I didn't have time. And so, because I didn't drink a little bit of bubbly in honor of David Lynch when I did David Lynch a portrait, I've got my bubbly today. So, um, we'll just raise a glass to Mr. David Lynch. You were a genius, sir. And there's my toast. And if we do have the complete Friday Foolish, you'll see me sipping on that a little bit more as we go along. So I also, me, guys and gals, I'm always a dollar late and a day late and a dollar short. Can't even talk. And I haven't even had, that's the first alcohol I've had today. I swear. But this is my dinner, and I didn't quite get done with it. And one of your hosts for this show, me, almost died a little bit earlier, choking on a boneless chicken wing. I don't know how that happened. I chewed it up as good as I could and went to swallow part of it. And it hung in my throat and wouldn't go up or down. And I'm sitting here gagging and choking and I thought that was going to be the end of me. Um, well, evidently I wasn't chewing very, very good or something, but I'm alive and well. I didn't perish. So it's all good there. And so if Candace is able to join me, we are going to be doing part one of The Genius of David Lynch. And we had planned to talk about, well, I'm mostly going to talk about Eraserhead because Eraserhead is not Candace's cup of tea, and if she's able to join me, she'll tell you that it's not her cup of tea. And I hate it that we had 8 people before this started, and y'all were probably, thinking, "Oh, it'll be Dana and Candace," and now you're stuck with me. And we dropped down to 4 people, but it happens. So I ain't gonna worry about it. I'm just gonna talk to whoever is in here. But I just wanna say before me and Candace get started here that we are requesting no spoilers be put in the chat. And I know, guys and gals. And this is especially for Twin Peaks, okay? Because I know the majority of people have probably seen Twin Peaks. They're going to see Twin Peaks. But Candace has not watched all of the second season. Hey, the poet. And so, I told her that I would request that there be no spoilers in the chat. We're not going to give spoilers on here. And we're just requesting that nobody say, hey, by the way, blah, blah, blah happens at the end of the second season of Twin Peaks. Please don't do that. Because Candace is probably not the only one that has not seen all of Twin Peaks. Okay. So no spoilers. We're not going to give any, and we're asking that nobody else give any spoilers. Okay. Um, but we plan to talk about Eraserhead. We plan to talk about Blue Velvet, and we plan to talk a little bit about Twin Peaks. And like I said, this is part one of a hopefully two-part show on the genius of David Lynch. So, all you David Lynch fans, this is your evening, I guess, or it might be a couple of evenings. Um, and I may periodically check my phone to see if I've gotten a message from Candice. I think she's sending me something now, but um, we'll hopefully know something in a little bit. I do apologize, and I'm sure Candace would apologize, but things do come up. Sometimes they come up with me, sometimes they come up with her. It's just part of life. So, you know, a lot of people been sick. A lot of people had different things going on. So it's just a part of things. So, um, hold on. Just give me 1 second. I am going to leave the chat here and read this message. I will be right back and I will let you guys know something. Okay, folks, a little update. I'm still not sure if we're going to go ahead and do this. I'm going to wait to hear more from Candace. Um, just things are just kind of in flux. So I guess I'll do some announcements for the channel while I'm waiting uh, to hear what decision she makes. And so what I've got coming up with the channel, well, hopefully this upcoming week. Well, before I get to that, I've got a couple of watch alongs coming up this weekend for uh, people that gave $5 or more super chats, and they got to pick movies for me to do a watch along for. So Saturday's watch along. Um, will be for dog soldiers. This one was picked by Menelect. I would like to thank Menelect for picking another interesting movie. I'm looking forward to it. I don't think I've watched Dog Soldiers, so I'm looking forward to um, doing the watch along for that one. Sunday's watch along was from Brian, who Brian, I think, gave a $20 super chat. So, wow. Thanks, Brian. I really, really appreciate that. I appreciate all the super chats. But that was totally unexpected. I didn't know I was going to get a $20 super chat for the channel. So, Brian's pick was Q. So, Sunday's watch along starting at 7 p.m. Eastern. Both of the watch alongs will start at 7 p.m. Eastern time, will be for Q. I've got another movie Munchies coming up this Sunday, because you're getting two movie Munchies in 1 month. Now, when we roll over to February, it should be just one a month, unless I get a bee in my bonnet like I did this time. In light of David Lynch's passing, or in honor of him, rather, I decided to do a second movie Munchies. I did one last weekend for Grandma's Killer Mac and Cheese. Thank y'all for all the nice comments, and there were a lot of likes for it and quite a few views for it. So I appreciate that. But this Sunday's these will be pre-recorded now. Keep that in mind. They are not live. They will not be coming on at a set time. Okay. So I will be doing a damn fine cup of coffee and cherry pie. And that's a Twin Peaks related movie munchie. So y'all be sure, I can't talk, be sure to tune in to that upcoming. It's going to drop at some point on Sunday. Okay. So I guess now I wanted to say too that I'm planning on starting the Cannon Fodder series in the coming week, and also starting the Dick's Picks, the films of Dick Randall, the films that he produced. I'm planning on starting that on Tuesday. Keep your fingers crossed I'm able to do that, folks, and get the movies watched that I need to do, and all of that good stuff. But in the meantime, while I'm waiting to hear back from Candice, if anybody that's in here has any questions for me, has any suggestions for any upcoming programming that you would like to see, well, I can't admit either way, Rick Allen, because I've not seen Inland Empire. But I'll take you at your word that it's trash. Um, I can't admit one way or the other because I haven't seen it though. And truth be told, I don't know if I'll get to watch that for this. Even if we do a part two, because I think it's like 3 hours long. So, uh, no, not quite that deep south, Rick. I am from Kentucky. I actually live in Louisville, Kentucky right now, but I grew up in a very, very small town in, I guess you'd say, northwestern Kentucky. Now I'm more like in the central part of Kentucky, but I grew up in northwestern Kentucky. But yeah, a lot of people tell me I have a heck of an accent. So, not deep, deep south, but I'm southern. There's no doubt about that. Um, I like Johnny Depp. I don't know if I'm the hugest Johnny Depp fan there is, but I do like a lot of his work. Um, but hold on a minute, folks. Sorry, folks, I've got to listen to this voice message from Candace. Let me please take myself out of the stream for just a second, okay? Howdy, folks. Sorry. And, Uncle Bill's in here. Hey, Uncle Bill. And Blissful. Hey, Blissful. Um, well, unfortunately, Candace is, you need to get back to cooking supper and Mr. Bliss. Okay. All right. Well, thank you, Blissful. I appreciate it. Um, but for those of you that are still in here, um, then I apologize, but me and Candace are unfortunately not going to be able to go ahead with the genius of David Lynch, Friday Foolish. But the good news is, I think me and Candace are going to do this on Saturday. So y'all are going to get, I guess we've called them Sunday Silly. I guess we can call it Saturday Silly. But I would be glad, since I saw that we had 16 people a little bit earlier, I would be glad to talk a little bit about Twin Peaks or something like that. If anybody wants to come on here with me and talk for a few minutes, we can maybe talk for, I don't know, 30 minutes or so. Uncle Bill, if you're game, if you're not busy and want to come on here with me for about 30 minutes, I'd love to have you, or anybody else. Um, and so, or, if y'all just want to ask me some stuff or whatever y'all want to do. But I don't want to do too much without Candace, because this was a show that we have been, sorry about that we have been planning for a little bit. So I don't want to do a full David Lynch show without her. So, and yes, again, I am drinking my bubbly. So, um, so I'll go ahead, since nobody's um, popping up to say, yay or nay about that. But Uncle Bill, if you're still in here and you want to come on here, I'll be glad to put the link in the chat for you. But you don't have to. It's just, if you wanted to fill in for Candace for about 30 minutes, like I said, I'd love to have Uncle Bill or anybody that wants to come in here. But it's okay, Chris. I know things come up from time to time. I think she and I are going to do something tomorrow, maybe early in the afternoon. And y'all still get a Friday Foolish. It'll just be on Saturday, okay? But it's totally, totally fine. But to talk a little bit about Twin Peaks, I know a while back I did kind of an extensive series of streams where I kind of broke down the episodes. But in general terms about Twin Peaks, I think Twin Peaks was one of the most fantastic, genius television series ever. And some people might disagree with me, but David Lynch, I think David Lynch was one of those one in a million genius filmmakers. And some people might say, well, he didn't write every Twin Peaks episode. He kind of started it all and got the ball rolling. That's right. There were many, many other writers as Twin Peaks rolled on. Oh boy, I don't know what's going on there. Hopefully, I won't have to take myself out of the stream, folks. But I just feel like that David Lynch's fingerprint was on every episode. Even if he didn't write every episode, he was there in some form or another. And I did watch a few interviews, and there's a great documentary, and I put the link to it at the beginning of this chat, for something called David Lynch Eraserhead Stories. And this is a semi-documentary that David Lynch put together himself, and he gives away little known details on the 5-year long production of Eraserhead. And also, he goes so far as to call Catherine E. Coulson, which many of you that watched the original Twin Peaks run know played the log lady on Twin Peaks. And he gets her and unfortunately the late Jack Nance, not unfortunately that he got him on the phone, but to reminisce about the old days. So if you are interested in hearing David Lynch talk more about Eraserhead, then that is a very good place to start, because it's basically David Lynch on David Lynch. The poet, you say, I need to watch Twin Peaks now that I'm older. Yeah, I think Twin Peaks to me is something, the poet, that gets better with age. Because like I watched it during this original run, and then I watched it, many years later. I bought the box set and watched it again, and I was just like, I was blown away in a way that I wasn't blown away back in the early 90s when it originally came out. And then I started watching it a third time in preparation for the stream that me and Candice were going to do today. And it just blew my mind again. It's kind of like a scene out of Eraserhead, which is what my mind did when I was watching this again. Hey, John. John says, I was watching Blue Velvet clips the other day. Frank Booth was a crazy man. Yes, he was. And me and Candice, when we do the proper Friday Foolish tomorrow, apologies if you weren't in here, John, to hear me say that Candice had something come up suddenly and she's not able to join me tonight. So we're going to be saving the bulk of what would have been this Genius of David Lynch Part 1 for tomorrow. I'm just on here talking for a few minutes about Twin Peaks and anything anybody else wants to talk about in here. And extra. I'll get to that comment here in a second. But yes, and Dennis Hopper encapsulates that character perfectly, the character of Frank. I don't want to get too much into Blue Velvet because me and Candice will talk about it tomorrow. But you're still working, Uncle Bill. What the hell are you doing in here then? No, I'm kidding. But well, maybe you can come on at a later time. I keep forgetting that you're working a few evenings now. But you say Frank Booth was a crazy man, LOL. F that ship. That's Blue Ribbon. But I think Dennis Hopper was the perfect person to play that character too. X-Ray, he said, Dana, you're sort of like the log lady of horror. Well, that's nice of you, X-Ray. I like that comparison. John, you say, he was asked to direct Halloween 2. It was in that Taking Shape book. Can you imagine? And X-Ray says that would have been really weird. It would have, but, wow. What an experience that would have been if David Lynch had ended up directing it. My mind boggles at what he would have done with that. Because I think David Lynch was a master at handling horrific content. But I know me and Candice or I'm going to talk a lot more about Eraserhead when we do the show together. I don't know how to comment on that. I don't know how to comment on that X-ray. Um, but I just wanted to share a little bit of like from David Lynch, if y'all don't mind indulging me a little bit. This was a um, from David Lynch's mind here. Uh, this was an article from Far Out magazine in the UK from February of 2024, which was just last February. Uh, Written by Caitlin Russell, but it has a few insights into, the meaning behind David Lynch's Eraserhead. Okay. And Eraserhead was the 1977 debut film of David Lynch. Okay. Uh, and a lot of people, and I'm saying a lot of people, look at you like, really? You've watched Eraserhead more than once? I only watched it 2 times. I watched it once many, many moons ago, and I watched it again here recently. And yeah, it is bizarre. It is bizarre. But I like that David Lynch said way back in 1979 that he would be wrong if he told people, well, you just don't get it, if they gave their own interpretation, because he said he pretty much, as the filmmaker, leaves it up to each person that watches Eraserhead to decide for themselves what it means. He knows what it means to him, but he said it would be wrong to try to throw his insight on to another viewer. Um, so, so I'm sure over the years, a lot of people have tried to explain Eraserhead. I've even tried to do it myself, and I don't know. I fumble kind of all through it and stuff, and I probably could not give everybody the answer that they want. Um, but uh, one of the things that struck me that David Lynch said, that he started writing Eraserhead after he read a certain Bible verse. And I don't remember him mentioning the particular Bible verse that he read, but then I was watching something else and he says he don't even remember writing Eraserhead. So I guess it was like he was on autopilot. Um, and so let me give you like the basic rundown on Eraserhead. So it's the story of Henry Spencer. He is a printer and he's on vacation. Henry Spencer is played by Jack Nance, who unfortunately passed away due to murder. I have not looked into a lot about Jack Nance's murder, but evidently, no murder is not horrible, but this one evidently was particularly brutal. But Henry basically is confused by a nightmarish reality where his girlfriend is cold towards him and she gives birth to a mutant baby, and she basically neglects the baby and just leaves the baby with Henry, who doesn't really know how to take care of the baby, but he tries. And this is something else. Other people have said, you don't know if this is reality or this is a nightmare. And that's exactly the way I felt while watching it again. Is I wasn't sure if what Henry was seeing, like when he sees the baby getting sick and all of a sudden it sprouts out like sores on its face and it's kind of gasping for air and stuff. And I knew the mutant baby wasn't a real being or anything, but for the length of that movie, it appeared that it was, and my heart broke for that mutant baby, and my heart broke for Henry because he was trying his best to understand his mutant child and trying to take care of it, and then it becomes pointless by the end of it. And again, you're not sure if the horrific events that happen at the end are part of a nightmare that Henry is having. Is Henry losing his mind? Is, reality distorted for him somehow? We don't know. And I think David Lynch liked it that way and kind of left it open ended. Uh, but to me, Eraserhead is no more bizarre than some of the things that happen in Twin Peaks. I mean, you have people moving in a weird way during dreams. There are a lot of dream sequences in, in the Twin Peaks episodes where people seem to be moving backwards, or they're jittery and glitching, and they're talking strangely. And it's sort of like those old kung fu movies, those old martial arts movies, where something is said and then the mouth goes after that. So you have these dream sequences that are like that in Twin Peaks, and and there are nightmares as well in Twin Peaks, not just odd dreams. There are horrific nightmares. Um, I always liked Jack Nance. X-Ray, I wouldn't say I had the hots for him. Um, that hairdo was weird in Eraserhead. I will say that. Um, but I'm gonna. So let's let's talk a little bit about what David Lynch talked a lot in this article about some of his own fears were projected into Eraserhead, fears about being a father, um, fears, the normal fears that a father would have about inadvertently hurting or killing their own child, not on purpose, but by, not being able to provide for them, not being able to care for them the proper way. Um, and uh, just they were real fears, but everything was kind of turned on its ear and exaggerated. And then you had these nightmarish, dreamlike. Even David Lynch had said the whole film had a dreamlike quality to it. John, you say, I believe I'd rather run into Nosferatu over that creepy blonde lady with the puffy cheeks. Oh, yes, the radiator lady. Yeah, that there was something very odd about the radiator lady, but David Lynch said that, and I think he said this back in 1979, that the radiator lady symbolized to him hope for Henry. It was a bright light for Henry in all the darkness he had. And so I'm glad you brought the radiator lady up, John. No, I don't want to have any babies, X-Ray. um, X-Ray, you say even his daughter said the movie was probably about her, LOL. Apparently she was born with club feet. Oh, I did not know that. And X-Ray, you say, yeah, she always gave a positive vibe. Um, I mean, there were times when the radiator lady, like in that one sequence where she's stomping on the little, uh, they look like, I hate to say it like this, but they look like sperm. And uh, Henry kept seeing them periodically. Again, we're not sure if he's seeing them in dreams or if he's seeing them um, in reality. But they keep popping up. And there's one scene where the radiator lady is dancing, and then these little sperm creatures start falling down, and she's stomping them. And also, I felt like, and you guys and gals might say, Dana, you're way out there. I also felt like at the beginning where you saw the deformed looking man and he's pulling a lever and stuff, and then you saw these sperm like creatures falling. I felt like maybe that was the moment of conception when Henry's girlfriend actually conceived the mutant baby. Um, X-ray say I think those sperm creatures were malevolent, and they could very well be. Um, yeah, I mean, again, my heart broke for that baby, and it broke for Henry too, because he started out. I said I wasn't going to give spoilers, but I don't think Candice will mind me kind of saying about the end of towards the end of Eraserhead. But Henry, I guess, is curious, and he cuts open what looks like bandages that have been around this baby, this mutant baby, the whole entire movie, practically, uh, from the first moment you see it until the end when he cuts them up open. And it's like all the baby's internal organs are uh, visible. There's no skin or body parts covering them or anything, and the baby is moaning and stuff like it's dying. And Henry becomes, I guess, frightened. Oh my God, what have I done? And just stabs the baby in one of its internal organs with the scissors, and the blood comes out of the baby's mouth and all that stuff. And I was just like, oh my goodness. Even though I knew this wasn't a real baby, and it didn't really exist outside of this movie, for the life of that movie, it felt like a living thing. And I knew that this was supposed to be Henry's offspring, no matter how mutated it was or deformed or, whatever you want to say about it. And, I feel like that Henry did not do that because he wanted to kill his own child. I think he was trying to put the child out of its misery. Um, and my heart broke even more. And some people are probably thinking, well, Dana, how can your heart break over that movie? It's too bizarre. Um, but in the last 10 minutes, I'll talk a little bit because I want to talk more about Eraserhead when I actually have Candice on here. But that was a good little mini conversation on Eraserhead. But Twin Peaks, I think that is the ultimate expression of David Lynch's talent. Because, and I've told this story before, but for those of you that haven't heard it, my dad and I, we spent a lot of time watching movies and stuff together. I was a daddy's girl, I always was. Didn't mean I didn't enjoy my mom's company. And my love of horror movies mainly comes from my mom. I have to give her credit for that. But my dad and I, you've heard me talk about how we would just drop everything and watch Jaws if it came on TV. Well, Twin Peaks was something we both got interested. I was in my early teens, um, like high school age, but still our early teens. And I think I get more out of Twin Peaks now, but we were both intrigued when we saw the commercials for the impending pilot. Okay. So when the pilot came on, me and Dad were just glued to the television. I don't remember if mom watched it with us or not, but we were glued to the television. And then, of course, it progressed into the television series that those of us that love Twin Peaks have come to grow and love all over again as the years have gone by. And but somewhere along the way, my dad tuned out when they started. When Agent Cooper started having the dreams about the guy who seems to be walking strangely and talking, like I said earlier, like it's like those old martial arts movies where something is said and then the mouth moves like that. And he sees somebody that looks like Laura Palmer. It's supposed to be this guy's sister. And the dreams are giving him insight into who may have killed Laura. And so once it got into that and the log lady and stuff like that, my dad tuned out. I think he might have watched a handful of episodes, but he was like, this is too bizarre. But I kept at it. I kept watching it. And like I said, I just fell in love with that. I fell in love with how it was filmed. I fell in love with the characters. I wanted to follow these characters throughout. Now, I will admit the stuff between, and I'll talk a little more about this when me and Candice are actually on here doing this. I always was a little annoyed by Donna and James' relationship because it didn't ever seem realistic to me. And y'all, if any of y'all disagree with that, or even if you agree with it, feel free to put that in the chat because I'd love to hear other people's impression of that. But that was basically the only thing about the shows that irritated me was their relationship. And some people might say, "What the heck? What are you talking about, Dana?" I love that relationship between James and Donna. I just thought it rang false. It was too cutesy. It was too syrupy, sugary nonsense. And that's no offense to David Lynch or any of the other writers. Hey, Gory Tiger. Hey, Millet. X-Ray, you say, yeah, they were annoying as fuck. But I can't remember the guy that played James Hurley. But Laura Flynn Boyle, I like her as an actress. It's just, I don't know. Like I said, there was something too cutesy with them. But everybody else, I pretty much could fall in love with them, all their characters all over again, watching it. Actually, he say James had a big ass forehead. Well, yeah, I guess he did. But I like everybody else. But and again, I'll expand more on this tomorrow when me and Candice are together on here. But the character that has always been my favorite, and I would follow that guy anywhere, is Kyle MacLachlan's portrayal of Agent Dale Cooper. I love Agent Cooper. And I also love David Lynch as Gordon, as Agent Cooper's superior. I love the interaction between them. I love Miguel Ferrer, even though he's an asshole, as Albert. God rest Miguel Ferrer's soul, because I think he did pass away maybe during or after filming of the technically the third season of Twin Peaks, which came out a few years back. Oh, I like Coop. There ain't no doubt about it. And I'll tell you what makes me hot for Kyle MacLachlan, his character in Blue Velvet. And y'all might say, yeah, but he is hot in Blue Velvet. Um, I ain't even gonna lie. Um, but again, we'll talk more about Blue Velvet tomorrow. Because X-Ray said, "Oh boy, Dana getting all hot and heavy for Coop. Steve ain't gonna like that." Steve don't care. Now, if it was, if it was somebody that was around here and I was getting all hot and heavy for him, he might get upset. But yeah, he ain't gonna get upset over Kyle MacLachlan. Um, and I think it was maybe I heard Chris maybe talking about The Hidden. I had that movie, and it has Kyle MacLachlan in it, and I still need to watch it. I bought it a while back, and for whatever reason, haven't gotten a chance to sit down and watch it. I do want to, though. But, gang, it is just 2 minutes till 7, and I've been on here babbling for almost an hour. But I'm going to tie up the Twin Peaks, David Lynch talk. And me and Candice should return tomorrow. I'm not sure what time, but I will put out another. It'll probably be the Friday Foolish thumbnail, but we'll refer to it as Saturday Silly or something, clever or not clever like that. And we'll have a full-on show about it. We're going to talk more about Eraserhead. We're going to talk more about Blue Velvet. We're going to talk more about Twin Peaks. And also be sure to be on the lookout. Menelect, your watch along for Dog Soldiers is coming up tomorrow night at 7 p.m. Eastern. Yes, the poet, you are correct. Remember, you can super chat for a movie watch along. If y'all want to do that in the last few seconds of this, if anybody wants to give a $5 super chat or more, and throw your hat in the ring to pick a movie for the next watch along I do. And speaking of that, Sunday's watch along will be for Brian's pick. He gave a $20 super chat a week or so ago. And his pick was for Cube. And that will also be at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. Also, be sure to be on the lookout for a pre-recorded Movie Munchies for a damn fine cup of coffee and cherry pie in honor of Mr. Lynch and in honor of Twin Peaks. And before I get off of here, I want to do another toast to David Lynch. Again, you are and will always be a genius, sir. And we will miss you and your enormous filmmaking talent and your enormous creativity. And so, with that being said, I'm off like a dirty shirt. This shirt ain't dirty, but I'm off like one. And I want to remind everybody, as I always do before I get off of here for the night, to be kind to one another and blaze that trail. Stay tuned for me and Candice to do a full-on Genius of David Lynch Part 1 coming up at some point tomorrow. Keep a lookout for the thumbnail and the announcement on my YouTube channel. And that's all from me, folks. I will see everybody next time.